what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Balanced Culture Podcast. Here with guitarist and music aficionado Ben Luciano. Hey, how you been, man?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for inviting me onto this.
Yeah. So, how's quarantine going?
Man, quarantine's interesting. It's a different lifestyle, I guess. Still trying to adapt to it along with everybody else, but other than that, I'm still alive, still healthy. No COVID for me, so that's all that matters.
Killing COVID with this whiskey right here?
Man, I actually just got this yesterday, and it's kind of already gone, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, whiskey is like the strongest. I think it's probably like the oldest form of alcohol, isn't it? At least for the United States.
My knowledge on alcohol is not that very bright, but you know, either way, still is superior. I love dark liquor. I can't really do I can't do light liquor at all. I don't know why, but yeah, I've always just had a love for dark liquor.
Yeah.
After I turned 21, let's get that straight. So, cheers.
Yep. Yeah, as for me, I think it's just whiskey and tequila. The only things I really mess with. You have any like funny like quarantine stories?
Man, not that I could think of. I can't think of anything on the top of my head. This quarantine has just been it's been horrible, boring, unproductive. But you know, just out here doing things like this, so I guess that makes it a little bit better. So yeah. Other than that, crazy stories. No, I don't have any as of right now. So
Yeah, cause I mean, quarantine got me stuck at the house on Netflix watching Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke with my mom, telling me about the first time she tried acid, and it was like in the movie scene where I think it was Tommy and Cheech, they were like in the van or something, and he was just like tripping on some acid, and she told me the story the first time she did it.
Quarantine has us going wild.
Yup.
But just be safe.
So who influenced you to play music? Because I know you just don't do guitar.
That's a hard question. Before I started doing this whole music stuff, I've always been in love with music, and then I got a guitar from some it was like a junior acoustic guitar, it was Yamaha. Still have it. It's not here though. But yeah, so I got that for Christmas. Never touched it. Guitar Hero came out. It was like one of the biggest games ever. Played it, and then I started picking up my guitar here and there. Started playing by ear a little bit, and then eventually I started taking lessons for about 2 to 3 years, and then the last year that I was taking lessons, I started recording at my guitar instructor's studio, and that's when I got my first experience with recording and the whole studio stuff. It wasn't that advanced, but at the same time, I was listening to myself over my own sound system, so that was a little bit different for me. But other than that, as in influences, I don't know. I've just had a lot. Kiss has a major influence on what I do, especially Gene Simmons. I used to watch Gene Simmons' Family Jewels, so that definitely made a big impact on my life, music life, and how I carry myself. Because, you know, I did look up to him. I idolize him, so yeah, it was interesting, just learning stuff from him, and yeah.
I mean, I think there's really no better person to idolize than Gene Simmons, right? I mean, he doesn't drink, he doesn't do drugs. I mean, he's a pretty clean guy, and he's a pretty smart guy, music industry wise.
Yeah, business wise, you know, Gene is he's really smart with what he does, you know. But everybody has their flaws, and you know, I can't really say that there's anybody that's perfect to look up to, but that is someone that I looked up to for many years and continue to do so. I have a bunch of Kiss stuff over here. I have his book 27 that my best friend bought me, and then it has an autographed certificate from Gene Simmons. So that was really special to me. But yeah, I've seen Kiss so many times.
How many times?
Okay, I shouldn't say so many, but it was like 3 or 4 times that I think it was 3. I don't know. I think it was 4 times. I believe so. I saw them within this year in Bakersfield. Okay, so I saw them in my bad. Saw them in Bakersfield, and I think it was March. So took that drive over there, and then after the concert came back. But it was they always put on a really good show production wise. But yeah.
I mean, I think my life was like fully complete when I heard them play War Machine, because I mean, I'm a big wrestling fan, and I mean that was Taz's entrance music. I mean, as far as like gym wise and like trying to get pumped up to like kick somebody's ass, I mean War Machine with Gene Simmons and like Paul Stanley singing it, probably like one of my favorite Kiss songs off of the album Creatures of the Night.
Yeah, it was a funny story. I was actually listening to that album. I was going through that era of their catalog yesterday, and yeah, War Machine is a pretty good song. Not my favorite. I can't really name a favorite song that I have from Kiss. I think one of them is for sure God of Thunder, especially because he does his act when he performs it.
Oh yeah.
And stuff. So yeah. War Machine is a good song. I remember the first time I heard that, I was actually on my way to a Kiss concert. I believe it was in 2000. Was it for their Kiss Alive 35 tour when they came to Fresno at the St. Mark Center. Me and my uncle were driving and they were playing Mandatory Kiss on the radio. And I heard that song and I was like, okay, this is cool, a little harder than the Kiss that I know, but they were a little bit harder in the late 80s than any other time period. So
any favorite albums? Because I mean mine are I would have to say mine are Psycho Circus and Creatures of the Night are probably my favorite Kiss albums.
My favorite Kiss album, most definitely, it's gonna sound mediocre, but I really love Destroyer, just because of the dynamics that it has and has so many hits on that record. I definitely think that Kiss did a great job on that album, especially with the resurrected version. Well, it's remastered, but they called it resurrected, which is pretty cool. And there's a few other sounds that you probably won't be able to hear on the original album. But yeah, Destroyer for sure. The album cover is just amazing. I think their costumes at that time were like the best, especially the makeup. So yeah.
Any like family influences?
Family influences. I have a lot.
Or like just reasons to do what you do?
Well, my family most definitely, taught me to push hard, especially for what I want. My mom bought me my first electric guitar when I believe I was 11 or 12. And then from then on, I basically kind of taught myself how to do certain things, and in the music business and all that. But as in influences with my family, yeah, I can't really get into specifics because there's just so many, but I've had a lot of positive influences coming from my family.
Because like I know my influence for doing what I'm doing here, like the podcast and the name, the logo and everything, I mean, because I see journalists out there and I see the media out there, they do such a bad job nowadays of conducting interviews, even in sports, like doing commentary for sports. like I just look at some of the commentators out there in wrestling and football and everything, and I'm like, man, I feel like I can do a better job and have a better interview with so and so than this person can. I mean, honestly, like one of my goals is like the wrestler like Rob Van Dam, RVD. I see so many interviews with him, and I'm like, man, these people don't know how to interview this guy. Like, they have no flow, they have no consistency or knowledge of how to talk with this person. And I just feel like that's what you have to do as a journalist and as a like analytics guy. Like, you have to know who you're talking to and study them in any genre. So I mean, that's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, like what I said earlier, everybody has their flaws, everybody has their own style of conducting whatever they're performing. But yeah, if I look at things this way, don't do whatever it is that you're watching because you think it can be better. Do it because you're passionate about it and you just have this drive to achieve those goals of interviewing probably the most famous person out there or whatever it is. Because if you keep looking at other people, at the same time you're just going to adapt to that, and you don't want to do that. Same thing with music. Don't look at what labels and radio want you to do. For example, Queen recorded Bohemian Rhapsody. Nobody wanted to put it out on radio, and then once it got popular, eventually they had to put it on radio because it's due to popular demand. And at the end of the day, it goes to show that regular radio format, which is 3 minutes and 15 seconds, can be broken by a song that's like, I believe the song's like 6 minutes. But yeah, so just do it for the passion. Don't do it because you want to look cool. I always see that the whole competition and I can be better than this. Just do it because you're passionate about it and you love it and you want to achieve those goals of interviewing someone famous or someone that you look up to.
And then also, like, you don't want to compare yourself to people. It's like you don't want to be the next Freddie Mercury. Like, you don't want to say, or I want to be the next Gene Simmons, or I want to be the next Santana. Like, you got to do what you want to do and be you, right?
Yeah. A lot of people ask me who inspired me to play guitar. I can't really give one answer, because one minute I'll be listening to Carlos Santana, another I'll be, listening to Slash, Ace Frehley from Kiss, and I'll take those certain styles and their certain licks and, just combine them together and go off of, not trying to implement their sound into mine, but just learning from theirs, so that way I can come up with my own techniques and try to figure out how I want to hit certain notes or just hit certain guitar licks. Because that's really important.
I know you went to go see Santana, right?
Yeah, I actually went to go see Santana September of 2016, I believe. Funny story, my friend Erica, I went to church with her back in the day, and then we remained close friends and stuff. And then she randomly hit me up saying that she won these tickets to go see Santana, and she said, I know you would be the only person that would appreciate it as much as I do, so do you want to go? And of course I had to say yes, because it was Carlos Santana, big impact on my life, not only because he's a guitarist, but because he's also Hispanic, just like myself. So when I got to see him perform, I remember he came out and I started crying, and then she started crying too, and we were just like all crying together because it was just like such like a big impact. That was a really big moment in my life because I never thought, you just never think you'd be able to see like he's like older than you are, and you're like, I don't know if they're still gonna tour, if they're gonna, even if they do tour, come to your city or whatever. So being in high school and being able to see someone that you look up to that was different for me because I grew up listening to him not only because that was my music choice, but because my family did as well. So that was definitely like one of the biggest moments of my life.
Because like, I guess how you could say the way he plays guitar and the way a lot of people play instruments, like it touches your soul, right? Like that's why you get those teary eyes and that emotional feeling, because that's what you're feeling in the moment. That's how the music captivates you, right?
Well, yeah. So for me, like, how do I explain it? So I don't really like to write. Like, if I'm gonna solo a song, I don't really like to write out a solo. Well, I can't write music, but just oh, I'm gonna play the solo like this. If anything, I'll go in the studio, plug me in, whatever I'm feeling at the time, I'll just go onto it because I feel like you're able to get more out of yourself when you're expressing how you're currently feeling at that time. But guitar solos are important because I heard these fast guitars, which is cool and all. I mean, I can't do it. I probably could with the amount of time that I've been playing, but it's just not really my style. I've just always been, the type of person to let my guitar sing for me, not do the whole shredding and stuff. Sometimes I do, but it's just majority of the time I just like to play whatever I'm feeling out and expressing myself through the guitar. That's always been sort of a therapy technique for me. So. Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by fast? Like fast guitar?
Like shredding.
Like shredding, like Slash, or?
No, I'm not gonna say any names, but I have heard
like electricity feel, like that kind of vibe, like an electric vibe.
Well, there's a certain style of guitar that you just keep going and going and going, but for me it's just like that's cool and all, but it's not really a sentimental, and it doesn't, for me, can't speak for everybody else, it just doesn't really like hit for me. So that's just, like I said, everybody has their own style of doing stuff, but that's not really my style. So
okay. Let's switch now and like talk about like the greats of like Santana. Like, who are some of the other greats that you watched and you've seen live actually?
Oh man, Motley Crue for sure. I've seen Motley Crue about 3 or 4 times, I believe. Big influence on my life. I've seen Ozzy. I know he doesn't play guitar, but he is the godfather of metal, and so being able to see him, I feel like that was a mind-blowing moment for me. I saw him in 2010, so I don't feel like I was able to appreciate it as much as I would now. I was supposed to go see him in 2000, I believe it was 18. It got postponed to 2019, and it was supposed to be postponed to this year, but they canceled it. Sucks, because I probably won't get to see Ozzy again. But there's worse things in life. But the fact that I was able to see him perform already, I could say, oh, I got to see Ozzy Osbourne perform. Like, that's
right, yeah.
Crazy as it is. So Ozzy Osbourne, Carlos Santana. I'm trying to think of who else I've seen perform. I've been to so many concerts.
All right, so where we were like at influences and stuff, and I want to see like the kind of music for me to like a song, or for me to like any artist, that I have to see emotion in the lyrics. I have to see emotion, how they perform and everything. Like I'm a huge MGK fan, and I just want to put this out there that he won at least one of the rounds with the battle between Eminem. Cause honestly, I was a big Eminem fan back in the day, but now I think he should stop. Like in his new song that he did with Kid Cudi, bro. Like he threw shade at, and I know that's what he does. I mean, Slim Shady, he throws shade at people. But why are you gonna bring up coronavirus and and talk about how people should wear masks and shit like in a song? Like just leave that out of your lyrics, man. But for me, I'm a huge MGK fan, and a lot of other artists that actually throw emotion and talk about real things in their music. That's what I like. I mean, are you that way as well?
Um, let's see. For me, well, it's kind of hard because it's hard to find good underground artists for sure. But as an emotion and stuff, yeah, you could have the best emotion in your lyrics, but it also counts on the production as well. So, it's just a variety of things. I feel like some artists like one thing because they're good at something else. So it is what it is.
I mean, I think one of the best examples for me right now is Polo G. I mean, that song that he has through the storm. I really like that song, and a lot of other people like that song as well because I'm sure he has that one hit pop out, but I think that he has a lot of other emotional songs that a lot of people don't see as well.
I can't really speak much on Polo G. I've never really bothered listening to his music, and no disrespect intended. But there's just some things that I haven't. There's a lot of artists that I haven't been able to come across. There's artists that I've had to work with that I've never even heard their music, and which is how music goes. But
that's no disrespect to say that you never heard of their music, right?
No, the other day I brought up how I met Zendaya, and I had no idea who she was, but she was doing a promo run with Bobby Brackens for a record called My Jam. Shout out to Sonny from he works with Def Jam now, so he works with YG and all the Def Jam artists. But at the time, he was working with for this specific promo run. He was working with Zendaya and Bobby Brackens. Did a meet and greet here in Fresno at Blackbeard's. Like I said, people told me Zendaya, oh my God, Zendaya this, Zendaya that. She's on Disney Channel, and I really didn't know who she was. She's cool. She's really nice. Another artist I can say the same thing about is Sierra Ramirez. She's Sarah's really down to earth. She's really nice. But yeah, so the first time I worked with Sierra, I believe it was in 2016, and she was still doing the Fosters, I believe. And you actually went with me.
Yeah.
And
she was really nice.
Yes, Sierra, she's amazing. She's really nice. Was with her in Stockton last year for a performance she had to do with another artist named Isla. All went out to eat after that. Nothing but good vibes from them. But yeah, so the story with Sierra is that she was on the Fosters and stuff, and at the time I was dating this girl, and she told me, oh, the Fosters, you need to watch it. She used to watch it all the time, and me, I'm not really into shows, believe I gave it one try, and not that I didn't like it, but I'm just not really into watching.
So you don't watch a lot of TVs, a lot of TV shows?
I don't. If anything, I just watch YouTube videos and all that. But I don't really care for TV at all. Sometimes I have the urge to watch movies, but even if I never can really get through a whole one in one day.
Isn't that so weird how YouTube was like kind of killing the game right now, right? Because myself, I have a lot of apps on my TV and everything. Like I have one of those Roku smart TVs. And man, I wish that they would put a YouTube just button on my remote so I can just hit it and go there instantly, because they have Hulu, Netflix, and ESPN and stuff already programmed. And I'm like, man, I don't use any of this shit. Like,
well, it's definitely interesting seeing the dynamics over the years of how competitive the streaming services are becoming. At first it was Netflix, and even before they were 100%. I don't know if they still do this, but I remember if they didn't have a movie that you wanted to watch, you had the option of getting sent the physical disc to you in mail for like 2 days or whatever, and then you had to send it back eventually. But I'm not sure if they do that anymore. But seeing all these from Netflix, killing game, being like one of the only main streaming services to having like multiple. You have HBO Max, you have Hulu, you have the Disney Plus with the ESPN stuff. What else? You have Showtime, Stars. It's just interesting. Like I said, it's just interesting seeing the dynamics between who's who, and you have Netflix having their own production company, coming out with their own shows and movies. But at the same time, I feel like it is important for the film industry to have production companies like Netflix that are more willing to work with like a director or whatever it is to make a story come to life, such as The Dirt with Motley Crue, because there's supposed to be a movie made many years ago of The Dirt. Never happened because Motley Crue basically couldn't come up with a deal with any film company because they wanted it to be explicit, like how their lifestyle really was.
Right.
And no one wanted to pick it up. Eventually Netflix said, alright, you guys can do whatever you guys want. And that movie is explicit as hell. People said it's trashy. I've had a debate many times on social media about how, no disrespect to Queen, because Queen is amazing. But I wasn't a big fan of the movie. I don't know if it's because I'm not much of a Queen fan and more of a Motley Crue, or if it's just my bias.
And you're speaking about the Bohemian Rhapsody?
Correct. And the reason why I say this is because I feel like it didn't project the real lifestyle that these artists lived at the time in Bohemian Rhapsody. Like, yeah, they showed certain scenes, but in Motley Crue, it was explicit. Like I said, it was explicit as hell. All there is in that movie is sex, drugs, rock and roll, but at the same time, that's how their lifestyle was back then. So like I said, it's just at the end of the day, streaming services are important, and I know more people that have cable. I know more people have Wi-Fi than cable, which is really interesting because I grew up having cable.
Yeah.
And then like having no internet, and now it's just switched around because you have more. You could use your internet to the full advantage of not only having browsing the internet, but you can also watch stuff from there instead of like how you would do on cable. So, like I said, it's wild now.
And and also for me, if you go on my Netflix, you go on my you go on my Hulu, you go on my YouTube browser, and a lot of you're gonna see like documentaries, because that's just what I prefer and that's what I like. That's why I'm starting this podcast and trying to launch it off, because if I'm gonna watch something, I want to be informed. I want to hear a funny story. like a nice fun fact of just something interesting that I like. And that's what I like about the streaming service as well, because that's what you get. You get what you want to get. You don't get what somebody's telling you to watch at that moment in time on cable or anything like that.
Yeah. It most definitely is interesting to see how the times change. So.
All right, so let's switch up and we were talking about some of the greats, and one of my favorite goats, I think he should be on the Mount Rushmore of rap, is Kanye West. Are you a Kanye fan or not really?
Everybody is entitled to their own opinions. I respect yours.
I mean, my opinion though is that he's at least better than Jay-Z. Do you agree?
Everybody is entitled to their own opinion, and I respect yours.
I mean, he just has like that epic flow, and I mean, and I'm gonna stay loyal because I know he acts weird sometimes, but just because somebody acts weird, I'm not gonna act a certain way and like disband their music because they view this or they view that. I mean, I'm gonna be loyal to my artists. I mean, don't you think we should be loyal that way?
To a certain extent, you know, there's many, how do I say it? There's accusations that can come out. At the same time, they could be a good musician, and their art could be amazing. But, you know, like, it just depends on what it is. You know, like some people try to cancel Gene Simmons. I don't know. Did I? No. Why not? Am I being biased? Probably, but
You have to be.
like you know, like I said, to a certain extent, but there's only so much support you can give someone until they royally mess up, and so yeah. That hasn't happened, you know, with him. But if you're an R. Kelly fan, that's a different story. I don't know what to tell you. You're on your own with that, but
Yeah, I mean, I've never been an R. Kelly fan. I mean, are there any diehard R. Kelly fans out there? I don't know. Are there?
well, at the
Do you know any of them?
at the time, it probably was. But you know, R. Kelly has great music. But I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh, I'm openly an R. Kelly fan." I wouldn't really call myself an R. Kelly fan, but he has good songs. But it's not like
Right.
would I pay to go see R. Kelly, even with these accusations, you know, not coming about. I wouldn't pay to go see him, and that's no disrespect. But there's a lot of artists I listen to that I wouldn't pay to go see.
Right.
Not because I have the ability to see, you know, certain artists with, you know, like for free, or I don't have to pay for them, but it's just my preference. So there's things, you know, like there's things I choose to spend money on, things I choose not to spend money on. So it is what it is.
I mean, like you said, like you brought up the word cancel. I mean, and cancel right now, cancel culture is a really big issue right now. Like I brought food over here today, and I brought Wingstop. But on the way, I was thinking to myself, I was thinking, man, what can I bring? Because I don't know if this guy's canceled certain foods out of his diet now, because like you have so many people saying like, oh, I can't eat Taco Bell now, I can't eat Wendy's, I can't order things from Goya, I can't eat certain things because this person supports this person supports that person. Like, where's the issue there? I mean, unless somebody treats you bad directly, like why should you cancel them out? Is my opinion.
I'm gonna say this. First things first. If you cancel Taco Bell out of your diet or out of your life, I just want to applaud you, because I hate Taco Bell. But as in everything else that you brought up, canceling people to a certain extent. You know, it's always going to be to a certain extent because you can't really, until you specify things on why you're canceling them, then there's no real reason, I guess. So you just, no, like I said, to a certain extent, it all depends on that.
Yeah, because on the latest Fight Companion with Joe Rogan, Joey Diaz brought up, he was like, he told Joe Rogan, he said, Joe Rogan, how can you eat that shit Chick-fil-A because, oh, you hate gay people because you eat Chick-fil-A. Like, where does, like, to me that just seems ignorant to say because, oh, I'm going to stop eating this because they give out money to this person, they give out money to that person. It seems stupid to me and ignorant. Like, are they treating you with a good service or are they treating you with a bad service? That's where I go. That's where I go from there. I mean, if I'm gonna stop eating at a restaurant, or if I'm gonna stop listening to an artist, it's gonna be because I hate the service that they're giving me, or I hate the topic or I hate the way that they're putting it out. And to me, that's what cancel culture is. And I don't know how long it's been around. I think it's been around for a little bit now. I think like maybe around 2 years now.
Cancel culture is definitely interesting. And the reason why I say this is because I feel like it also depends on people's sensitivity. A lot of people are becoming more sensitive over time, which is, it's kind of messing up a lot in a way, you know. And the reason why I say that is because comedy movies.
Right.
For example, Todd Phillips, great director, funny movies, but he came out with the Joker. Unexpectedly because, people think, oh, Todd Phillips, he has what? Old School, he has a Hangover. I can't think of any other movies on top of my head, but he's in some movies as well. Like, he makes cameos in his own movies. Anyways, I never thought he'd come out with something as serious as Joker, but he said himself that he doesn't care for doing comedy anymore because of how sensitive people are. Right. And honestly, I don't blame him because, I was listening. My good friend Jizzo, shout out to Jizzo. He's with B95. He has this podcast with his friend John Magic, and it's called "This Could Get Me Fired." I listened to their podcast here and there, and in a recent one they talked about how Busta Rhymes had that record A-Rap Money. I'm pretty sure everybody has heard that song. Early 2000s, like, great. Very interesting song. But if they were to release that today, would it fly by? Hell no. Because people are just so damn sensitive. And I'm not trying to be insensitive, but if you think about it back then, people didn't give a damn. Because
right.
That's just how it was back then. But now it's just such a different vibe, and you have to magnify and micromanage everything that you do, just to make sure you don't offend certain people and you don't mess things up for yourself. And it's interesting seeing that now because it wasn't like that back then. But then again, you can't live in the past because times change, and it is what it is. You just gotta go on with the flow. So.
Alright, so I wouldn't say big, but I'm a pretty cool, I like to look into conspiracy shit. Now you said you're good friends with Jizzo, right?
Yeah, that's my boy.
Yeah, I love Jizzo too. I mean, and he has the Michael Jackson sleeves. I respect it. He's a big Michael Jackson fan. I am too. I love Michael Jackson. I'll slap his music any day of the week in my car. Now that being said, do you think that he really did it? And we were talking earlier too about how a person's art surpasses anything that they've been. Like you brought up R. Kelly. I mean, I've never been an R. Kelly fan, but I'm a great Michael Jackson fan. I love everything that he's put out. Now that being said, do you think that like he really did it, or do you think that they framed it was something to frame to put on him? Because Macaulay Culkin, somebody that spent a lot of time with him, has said that everything's false. He went on record saying that everything was false, and maybe he acts a little bit weird with kids and stuff, but he basically said that he never had any problem with Michael Jackson.
My knowledge isn't very, like, you know, I don't know much about the accusations. I don't know much about the stories. I haven't listened to any interviews, not because I don't care, but it's just because at the end of the day you're gonna hear multiple stories to one that's gonna go back to one situation. It is what it is. But what I can say is that Hollywood does have its dark secrets. There is this movie that came out called, I believe it's called Out of the Shadows. Interesting movie. I didn't want to watch it at first, but then I watched it and I was like, wow. It's definitely interesting and scary to see how certain things are grooming us into, you know, believing certain stuff, but, you know, it is what it is. We just have to have a mind of our own and not let either Hollywood, social media groom us, because, you know, or the media too, like the news. We can't have that groom us because it's not going to be good.
Do you think he was killed, or do you think that he really died?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm just going to leave it to this. Hollywood does have its secrets. So.
I mean, because he wasn't really in good shape with Sony, and I know that they made him change the video to one of my favorite Michael Jackson songs, "They Don't Really Care About Us," and he did a video. It was supposed to be about, the first video was portraying how a lot of blacks obviously are in the prison system, and he was gonna try to do a video in a prison. He was dancing, being Michael Jackson and stuff, and basically showing his people, his African American people, all locked up in prisons. And supposedly they didn't like that, whoever was filming it and putting it out there. So then he went with another video. And you can look it up. I mean, on YouTube, there's 2 videos for that song. And they went with the other one, which is like in Africa or something, and he's like, has like the tribal colors and everything, talking about that stuff. And then there's also a story that he was supposed to be involved in 9/11.
Who?
Michael Jackson. But supposedly he overslept and missed the flight that day. Supposedly he was supposed to be in one of the planes that went down that day.
Hey man, like I said, there's secrets to everything. I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist, but
I just think they're fun. I wouldn't call myself a conspiracy theorist, but I just like listening and reading them and seeing.
But listen to this. Someone also did tell me that the FBI came up with the term conspiracy theorist.
Right. Yeah. I just heard that too.
Implement that. You know, it's a theory and not an actual real thing, because what we're speaking on could be a real thing.
Right.
But we don't know. So, I don't know.
Well, the MK Ultra is an actual real thing, and the whole like being on acid, like Charles Manson, the famous serial killer, he was part of the MK Ultra experiment. Like they would pay these people however much money I think it was like $20 an experiment, and they would just basically give them acid and see how they react. I don't know what the doses was or how it went down exactly, but Charles Manson was part of that. And Charles Manson obviously didn't kill nobody, but he told people to kill people, and that's why he got locked up and put on death row.
Yeah, you know, it's a totally different story, but you know, like.
So I mean, if they're willing to do that, what else are they willing to do? You know?
Who knows?